Hello and welcome back. In this video clip, we will be exploring um, strings and the strings manipulation in Python. Uh, so first, what are strings? There are text-based information, and we simply can store them in our variables as we did before. However, the most important thing about the strings and understand that about the strings is that the strings they must be wrapped by single quotes or double quotes. This has been an issue with my students in GIS classes when, for example, they want to calculate a field and write a textual information in a field. The important part is that we have to make sure that the information we pass is wrapped by quotations. Doesn't matter if it is single quote or double quote, both of them they are perfectly okay in Python. Look at this first cell here. Uh, we have excuse me, a variable called a map name one underscore one, and it holds on to Valencia. And I have another variable which is a map underscore two, which stores Northridge. And look here, Valencia is wrapped by single quote and Northridge is wrapped by, oh, my bad, Valencia is wrapped by double quotes and Northridge is wrapped by single quotation marks. And both of them, they are valid and they are okay for Python. And if I go and shift enter, it runs and they're going to output my strings. However, never ever mix these two. For example, open a text with double quotes and then finish it by a single quotation mark like that. If I do that, if I go and try to execute it, I get an error. It's telling me that no, you opened it with a double quotation and ended it with a single one. Always make sure that if you open it with a double or single, close it with the same quotation mark. So I'm going to go and run it again, and I have my values. And I put this variable name here. There is a convention in variable naming. We call it camel casing. And camel casing really means that the first name is always lowercase and the second name starts with a capital letter, and that would make more readable variable name. And it is common to have meaningful variable names like map names. Map name as a variable name. However, years ago, as when I was practicing programming, there was this way of creating names, and it was very common at the time to start a variable name with a letter, like P map name or B map name, or I remember Q map name. And and at the time my coding instructor always wanted us to pick a letter to start our variable names with, and I picked A. And that's why still I practice that. Maybe not a good way of modern type of programming, but still you would see a lot of those in my variable names. So if I want to have a good probably type of camel casing, it would be variable map name like this, like _1 or whatever that I have. However, in my codes, you would see that I use a lot because I'm used to that way of naming variables. So here it is. I put it over here, actually. There you go. So map name. The first word is a lowercase all, and the second word starts with a capital letter. Is there a way? The question is this: is there a way to, as an output, because look here, when I printed this one, I don't print my quotation marks. I just print whatever they wrap. There we go. It's like Valencia and Northridge. Is there a way to have quotation marks in the output? The answer is yes. And then here it is. In this, I would like to output this. My name is Sohel, and Sohel is wrapped by single quotes. So what should I do in this case? If I wrap everything by double quote, this whole thing is now a string. They are wrapped by double quote, and I simply can assign it to my variable, a string, and then I can output it here, right? How about if I want to output a name with wrapped double quotes? I simply have to wrap it with single quotes, like here. So I have a query area and wrapped with double quotes greater than 1000. And I can output that showing these double quotes or this single quote that wrap my name. So if I go and shift enter, you would see that, oh, I have my string here, and my name is wrapped with single quote, or area is wrapped by double quotations. It was important at the time of Python 2.7. We will see how important it is in Python 0.3 when we are working with field names, really. When we want to query some rows or features later on. String manipulation, the first thing we are going to learn is how to concatenate two or more different strings. In this case, I have a variable. The first string is geographical, second one information, and third one systems. Can I add them together? Can I create a geographical information system? And the answer is yes. Strings, I can modify them by concatenate them. And concatenation in Python, I use plus sign. I would say that I go grab my first variable and concatenate it. Since there are strings, I don't say that's addition. These are strings, I concatenate them together to this string number 2 and number 3. Let's see what happens here. If I go and shift enter, I concatenate these three together, and I get geographical information systems with no space in between. What should I do? Simply concatenate a space. This blank space that you see, which is wrapped by double quotes, it says space. In string, I can concatenate a space, a blank space over there. And if I do that and if I print it, you would see that I have a space in between my words. So it is this string concatenations. I can add them together. I have to close that. Okay. Length of a string. Each string has a length, which is basically the number of characters we have. It's sometimes it comes handy because you want to create a field with only 8 characters, or you want to control whatever you write in your field in GIS. You want to have a 3 character type of codes. So we can check and we can understand the length of a string. Um, an example of it is here. This is a string land parcels.shape. If you work with any type of GIS, open source GIS, we use heavily shape files still. And if that's the name of my feature class, it comes with .shape. So this whole land parcels.shape is my string. And I can ask what is the length of it. How we do that? There's a function. The name is len, and I simply can use that, and in between I pass my variable to it. So I assign this AFC, and AFC, you would see that in our codes a lot. It stands for a feature class. So this is the name of my variable AFC, and I assign the value of land parcels shape to it. And I would like to know that how many characters are within this whole string, right? I simply can go and grab my function, which is len, and pass my variable name to it. If I go and run it now, it's telling me that in this whole land parcels.shape, there are 15 characters. Is there a way to change this whole string to uppercase? Yes. Uppercase, I can do that. I can grab the name of my variable and apply this method to it. The method is upper, open parentheses, close parentheses. Look at the structure. I grab my string, dot, upper, open parentheses, close parentheses. Upper is a method of strings. It changes strings for us into all uppercase, and I get all uppercase land parcels.shape. Same with all lowercase. It's a method. The name is lower, and how it works. The name of the variable, which is a string, dot lower, open and close parentheses. Then what is title method of strings? It makes the first character of each word capital. And since I have dot here, it thinks that it's a new one. So S is capitalized and L for land parcels is capitalized. So go change that to whatever you like and practice with it. Let's add something to it. Geography. Let's change it, and let me change that to this. Hopefully. So let's see what happens. I still assign it to the same variable. That's what happens here. Just telling me that geography and environmental studies has 35 characters in it. And this is, I can make them all uppercase, I can make them all lowercase, or I can grab every single word that I have and make the first one capitalized using title method of functions, of strings, I'm sorry. Each string, each character in a string, better say, has an index in Python. This is true for most of programming languages. We won't use this property of strings, but it is very important to understand that. For example, if I have JavaScript has 10 letters in it, However, each letter has an index. And these indices in Python, they are zero-based indices. The meaning is the first index is always zero. So J has index 0, and it goes like that. So we won't use this one, but it is very important. We might have some practices later on to work with these ones. For example, what if I have a long name and I want only to extract the first 4 characters. The first 4 characters, it will be index 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we can work with that. One thing that we work with a lot is this scenario. And I put it here that always be aware of spaces before and after strings. I put after a script. No, not right. After a string. Let's correct that. There you go. So it is here. I have, in this case, geographical information system. There's no before or after space. Here I do have before or after space. And that sometimes creates tons of confusions for you guys. And we don't want that mostly. We want to remove all before after spaces in our work. If I run this one, so I simply see same thing, or maybe I cannot, maybe I can see the first space, but I cannot see the second space. If I go and run the length and get the length of each string, it is telling me that, oh, this one is like 34 characters. Is there a way to remove this before and after spaces? Yes. There is a method of Python which called strip, and it is a string method. So I grab my string and I just this is my string. It has before and after spaces, and I simply can strip those. This strip method, it removes spaces at the beginning and the end of any string. If I run this cell, it is telling me that, oh, here is with no space, and it is simply 32 when I remove those before and after spaces. And finally, which is extremely important, this one, is there a way to replace a character with another one? We do a lot in the model builder or in Python with GIS because we don't want to have, for example, a feature class with a space in name, right? We grab the space and we change it with underscore. Can we do that? Yes, there is a replace method of strings in Python. I simply grab my string and replace. It works like this. It accepts 2 parameters. First, a space. There's a space here, right? Comma, the second argument or parameter, I change it with an underscore. It means that go look into this string and replace all spaces with an underscore. See, look, let's try this. Let's run it. All the spaces that are changed with underscore. What if I change all the spaces with value t, for example? Okay, don't do that. This is very confusing. But can we do it? Yes, we can. Can I change s with w? Can you guess what would be the result of this? It's very interesting. Do you know why this S system, it didn't change? Because Python is case sensitive. Capital S is different from lowercase s. So we use this a lot to remove spaces in Python programming for GIS, because in most GIS applications, we don't want to have a space in name, specifically for feature classes and so on. Okay, that was the end of this video. See you next time. Bye-bye.